What's in the sky? Late July, early August 2024. Let's see. See if I can get my little doohickey work going. Come on. It doesn't want to go. Oh, there we go. Right. Okay, so where I'm broadcasting from, I'm in what the Europeans called Q, so it's in the lands of the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people of the Kulin Nation. And I'm going to talk tonight about the general conditions, as usual. I'm going to start through the usual stuff. What's in the sky? Where's the moon? What the planets are doing, and then I'll get you orientated with the constellations and some bright stars. Still no planets in the evening, not much. I'll go through the suggested targets tonight. It's a bit busy, but yeah, I might split that again later on. Then I'll start talking about a bit for the early risers, followed by the quick wrap up for things to look at for this month. Okay, so general conditions at this time of year: sunset about 5:15. It's dark after 6. Next month, it's going to be about an extra half hour of light, so enjoy the darkness while it lasts. Sunrise at the moment is just after 7:30. It's dark until chunk after 6:30. Next month, again, you're going to lose about an hour's worth of stars. Now, we're past the winter solstice, which means that things are getting brighter, but they're getting colder. So now, young astronomers, can you find the equator in the sky? And which hemisphere? This is getting a bit smug. Which hemisphere gets the best view of the Milky Way, north or south? And another question for the young astronomers: why does it get colder after the solstice and not warmer? I'll leave that one with you. Milky Way season, it's right overhead right now. So you'd better get on your bike if you want to get a decent shot of the Milky Way. It's the season is getting on. For the moon lovers, selenologists, first quarter is on Sunday the 14th. That's coming up, which means that it rises at noon and sets at midnight. The best time for viewing the week after that is the week following, is in the afternoon when you're looking west. It's just in the south. It's across the equator on the 12th, so it's moving towards the south. The apogee, that's a mini moon, is on the 12th, so that's it's the same time. So the first quarter is a mini, I don't know what you call it, mini moon first quarter, whatever. Full moon is on Sunday the 21st, another Sunday. It rises opposite the sun. Best time for viewing is obviously at night, because it's opposite the sun. It's still in the south, so it's going to be high in the sky because we are also in the south. The perigee, that's the supermoon, is on the 24th. The last quarter is on another Sunday, the 28th, which rises at midnight. And the best time for viewing this week, it's an early morning, before school if you're a school kid, or before work if you're an old fart like me. It's crossed back into the northern hemisphere on the 25th, so it will be a little bit on the low side. The new moon is on Sunday, another Sunday, the 4th of August, rises and sets with the sun. And it's a little thin crescent. It's hard to see. It's in the north, so it'll be lower than the sun. And before next meeting, we've got another first quarter, Tuesday the 13th. There's a lunar X, 11:51 a.m. It's very low in the east. I might be able to spot it from my window, but it's a bit of an ask. We'll find out. Another quick question for the young astronomers: why do these phases go Sunday, 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 Tuesday? Have a look at the times of the phases as well as the dates, and you'll be able to figure that one out. Okay, the planets for next month, and this is all from the ASV yearbook as usual. Mercury is out of the evening twilight. It sets about 7 p.m., which is a decent time after the sun. The greatest elongation, which is the furthest it appears from the sun, is on the 22nd, and you'll probably get a good, nice crescent at that point. If you've got a good telescope, you'll need a fairly high magnification telescope to get much out of Mercury. Venus is an evening twilight object. It's still low. It's not going to really dominate the sky like it can. It sets at about 6 p.m. So it'll slowly rise until the end of the year. Mars is stuck in second gear. It's still stuck rising after 3 a.m. It'll start to move after the next meeting, maybe the next meeting after next. It's really stuck there. It'll move. It's coming around to opposition next year. Jupiter is also out of the morning twilight. It's rises about 5 a.m. so away from the sun. It's getting earlier each morning, so it will be a better looking object for you Jovians out there. Saturn is an easy late evening or morning object. It rises about 10, which is nearly viewable. You're going to need to wait until well after midnight before it's actually a decent altitude. Otherwise, you're looking for just too much atmosphere. Saturn's not going to look fantastic at the moment, of course, in over the next few months because it's the rings are closed up, or they're closing up. Uranus is close to Mars. It rises about 3:30, and it's into a viewable position. But again, you're going to need a Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope to see it. Neptune is a morning object. It's rising before midnight, and it follows Saturn by about an hour, I think. Pluto is still the best placed planet. You're going to need a telescope and a camera to be able to see Pluto. It just looks just like a star, but it moves day after day. The opposition is coming up on the 23rd of July, which is when it's, theoretically its best position for viewing is. The opposition for Pluto is not. That doesn't mean an awful lot because it's such a distant object, but when the sun is directly below us, Pluto is directly above us. Okay, so let's get orientated. Here is the sky at night, 9 p.m., which is pretty much right now, actually, facing south. Right, the Southern Cross, one of the three constellations we use as a road map. It's about 1:30 on the clock. I'll just get rid of that. There you go. It's about 1:30 on the clock, with the center of the clock in the south celestial pole, of course. Scorpius, one of our other road signs, is completely dominated in the sky. You can't see Orion; it has gone. Now, let's see. The orientation stars still staying in Scorpius. Antares, the bright star in Scorpius, is near the zenith. That's a donut warning, meaning your telescope may not be able to hit it because a lot of telescopes have difficulty pointing straight up. Spica, another bright star. Spica forms a triangle with Antares and the cross. So I'm giving you a bit of scaffolding here. So there's Spica, and from Spica, you go north to Arcturus. So we've covered a certain amount of the sky there. We're going to go in the other direction now. From the cross, you go over Scorpius twice, and you get to Altair. Now, Altair is relatively new in the sky at the moment. It's only been up for a couple of months. It's not a star I'm actually all that familiar with. It's more of an American thing, I think. Now, Achernar and Canopus, they are straddling the southern horizon, but neither of them are in a very good position for viewing. They're very, very low in the sky. You'll have trouble, especially if you're around something like the LMDSS, where there are trees around the outside of the viewing field. So you may have trouble finding those. Fomalhaut and Vega are also low. One of them's in the south of the east, and the other one's north of the east. Both very low. Of course, Fomalhaut we'll see a lot more of because it's a southern hemisphere object. We'll see that for months and months and months. Vega is going to come and go. It'll probably be gone in 3 months. So that's just the way the sky moves. Okay. Now, the Milky Way is nearing the zenith. Again, donut warning. So it might be hard for you to find to noodle around inside the Milky Way, but it's well worth a try, and it's good positioning at the moment. If you want to get up earlier in the morning, like 2 or 3, it'll be quite good for a better view. Okay, so moving to my targets for the evening. Now, this month I've sort of mixed up the visual and astrophotographic ones. I think I might undo that next month because it is going to get a little bit busy. Sorry about that. Okay. So Corvi is an optical double, actually an optical multiple. It's sort of towards the west from the zenith. It's fairly easy to find. There's a quad of stars there. you should be able to find that. You'll need a very small telescope to be able to see that. You can even see them binoculars. Okay, Southern Pinwheel Galaxy M83 is around. It's not very far from Delta Corvi. This photograph is one of Gerald's. Hello, Gerald. I'm assuming you're watching religiously. I think Gerald got this from a remote telescope in the Northern Hemisphere. I think it was a very remote telescope. So nice shot. Not very far from the cross is the Centaurus A galaxy and Omega Centauri. Omega Centauri is a glob. A globular cluster. You'll be able to see that with the naked eye, or better with a pair of binoculars if you're in a dark sky side. It's well worth seeing. It's great fun. Centaurus A is harder to see. You can maybe just pick it up with a large aperture telescope. It's better with a camera, of course. You can see that this is the view that I got from the 2-meter remote dome. It's fairly small in the field. So, but anyway, I put it up there just to show you the view. Now, Scorpius area I was talking about last month. It's obviously still there. It's actually pretty much optimally placed, although straight up it can be a problem. You've got the butterfly. That's the M6 butterfly cluster, and that's the one at the bottom, and the Ptolemy cluster, which is the one at the top. They're very close to each other, near the end of the tail of the Scorpius. The Lagoon and Trifid Nebula are, butterfly and Ptolemy are visual targets, by the way. Lagoon and the Trifid are photographic targets, and thanks to Paul Litchin, my boss, for this photograph. They're very close to each other, as you can see, not very far away. The Moth Wing Cluster is NGC 6281, and I confess I don't have a photograph of the Moth Wing Cluster. I was going to see if I could pick it up this last week, but it's been raining, so it should be a bugger. Toolbox going back to the cross is always available. It's fairly good, fairly well placed at the moment, so I'd be going around there. Then across the other side of the sky is something called the Wild Duck Cluster, M11. Again, I don't have a photograph of it, sorry, so I can't show you how ducking good it is. Sorry. But not very far from that is the Eagle Nebula. Eagle Nebula is something you'll see quite a lot of at the moment because it's Eagle season and all of the astrophotographers are out after it. As you can see, I am colorblind and I process my narrowband images way, way too green, and Diego finds this really triggering. So get a lot of that, Diego. Fighting Dragons. This is another Gerald Grech photograph. Fighting Dragons of Ara is one of the more dramatic areas of the sky. 6188 it is, NGC 6188. I don't know what the designation of that little planetary is, the one that's known as the Dragon's Egg, but that's a very, very pretty little planetary with those outer shells as well for the astrophotographers. The final bit of astrophotography, you won't be able to get this with a visual, but Fenrir the Dark Wolf, who's the wolf that killed Odin, Sunfist 17. I do have a photograph of this. It's one of Anne-Marie's. I thought I'd leave it to last because check that out. This is one of my favorite areas of the sky. That is just unbelievable. Don't you love it? And it really looks like a wolf too. So, moving right along. Comets. There's a comet here, Sushinshan. It's low in the west at the moment. In fact, it's well, you can probably still see it if you run out now, but don't. I'm talking. Over the next 2 weeks, it's going to disappear down to the horizon. It's going to move that direction, and it will cross over and become a morning object in a few weeks' time. So we're going to keep our eyes on that because we're hoping that is going to be a really, really good comet. It's end of September, early October from memory. The other one that's still around, Pons Brooks, some people are still able to photograph it. I think it's a bit of a challenge, but it's southwest and low in the horizon. It's actually moved fair way off the ecliptic, which is what some comets can do. Finally, T Coronae Borealis is right on the northern meridian, and I'll get back to that shortly. other thing I'd want you to do is get that dob out and go noodling around between the galactic core and the cross. Careful of the donut. Well, you won't need to be careful of the donut. You'll just have trouble finding something. But yeah, it's the best time of year just to move around that area, because there's so many little clusters and nebulas and all sorts of bits and pieces in there. It's just fun just to wander around. It's a heap of fun. So they're the targets for the evening. Moving to tomorrow morning, I'll just rattle through this because there's not an awful lot apart from the planets. Okay, so the Southern Cross is nearly at 6 o'clock from the South Celestial Pole, and Scorpius is approaching the horizon. But guess what? Look, we've got Orion back. So there's our three not clusters. What do they call them? Yeah, constellations. They're the ones that I use to find my way around the southern sky. And at 5 a.m. tomorrow, you can see all three of them. The Milky Way is setting, so probably too late for a decent image. Get up earlier. So and now planets are moving along the ecliptic. We've got Pluto and Saturn, which is well placed. Opposition is 8th of September, although the rings are closing up, so better hurry. Neptune is right on the meridian at 5 o'clock. Mars and Uranus are right together, and Jupiter is just rising. So so that's the 5 a.m. story. Now, what about the nova? T Coronae Borealis, otherwise known as the Blaze Star. It's about, well, we believe, about to do its thing. So here it is, courtesy of Stellarium. I've got a little circle around it. You can see it just on the meridian there. Now, what is it? Now, Stellarium calls it a cataclysmic variable star, which just sounds awesome, and hopefully it will be. So, okay, what's going on is out there, there's a red giant star, which is large and cool, and it's got itself an accretion disk, which is this large disk of gas and garbage. It's almost like a proto planetary disk. It's just full of garbage. However, it's not going to form planets, I don't think, because there's a white dwarf which is small and hot, and it's orbiting inside that accretion disk. So I don't quite know how it snuck in, but it was very sneaky about it, I think. Now, what's happening is that white dwarf is sucking up all of the accretion material in the area around it. And what happens is the white dwarf will build up sufficient material. Once that happens, it all ignites in a sudden detonation, which lasts for about a week or so. So it's not a supernova, it's called a nova. A supernova goes bang. A nova more like goes woof. So it's more of a flashover, but it's a big bright light. Now, after that happens, it's going to quieten down for about 80 years, and then it's going to do it all over again. So, and it's been observed several times. It's quite reliable. We think it's going to happen in the next month or so. And actually, there was some news reports in it this morning after I'd written this. I got my thunder stolen a little bit. But anyway, that's news. Now, to find T Coronae Borealis. Oh, by the way, Latin T means about the 20th star. Those like A all the way to T. Coronae is a genitive, which means it belongs to something. And Borealis is also genitive, which means it belongs to something. So it means the 20th star of the crown of the north. There you go. Latin lesson for you all. So T Coronae Borealis is very, very well placed for us in the southern hemisphere right now. It's not normally considered a southern hemisphere object. It is fairly low. However, it's about as high as it gets. So we've done relatively well. It's lowest in the north. It's just on the meridian at 9 p.m., which is about now. Now, what you do is you find Arcturus. Arcturus is about 30 degrees above the northwest horizon. Now, 30 degrees is about, I don't know, 3 fists or a 1 foot ruler held above held at arm's length above the horizon. So you should be able to find that. It's about the brightest star that's down that way. And then what you do is you move back to the meridian and you down just a few degrees. Now, if you're in a dark sky site, you should be able to see the corona itself. It looks like an upturned U. So I don't know, maybe a lowercase n. It's supposed to look like a crown, but of course we're not looking at it from the wrong side. Now, during the event, the star is going to brighten from about magnitude 10, which is something you can't see with your naked eye, to magnitude 2. Now, the star I've got there in Alphaca, is Alphaca. That's about the same brightness as what we think that T Coronae Borealis is going to get to. So in Corona Borealis at the moment, you'll see one bright star, one brightish star, and in maybe a month's time, you'll see 2 bright stars. And they'll probably stay there or it will probably stay there for about 3 or 4 days. So, final notes. First of all, there's not an awful lot happening this month. Sorry. So 22nd of July, Mercury reaches its greatest elongation, low and slightly north of west, setting about 7:45 p.m. On the 23rd of July, the day after, Pluto is opposition. So get out that T ring. You're going to need a camera to spot it, see the one that moves. There's a moon around about the 23rd of July, so you might need to adjust your viewing night accordingly. 4th of August, Mercury is stationary and it's moving into retrograde. There's a lot of Mercury news because it's a busy little planet. The other thing I would advise is ask an astrologer what that might mean and listen to the answer, because you might actually learn something. Astrologers created astronomy. Remember that. 14th of August, Lunar X. Have a go at it. I didn't get it last time. So, and you know, these things are hard. So anyway, give it a go. 11:41 in the morning, you should be able to spot the moon low in the east. You're looking through a lot of atmosphere though. And remember, at any time in the next month, watch out for Corona Borealis, because it's going to go woof. Okay, I think we're done.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Bill. How did you go just before you were mucking around with the 2 meter? Did you get it?
I got it. I got it. Yes. T Coronae Borealis is I can't. I'm on this computer and the photograph is on that computer.
Can you send me the photograph so we can share it with everybody? Not now. I mean, like, we can put it on.
Yeah. I'll do that. Currently, it's a fit file. I haven't stacked it. I haven't processed it or anything like that. And it just looks like a star. But yeah, I've proven that I'm actually able to get that star from the dome. I was a little bit concerned that because the dome is at the north end of the viewing field, and there are stars a little bit north. And and so anyway, I got it. So it's obviously high enough.
Cool. Wonderful. Well, thank you for another wonderful What's in the Sky.